Welcome to Ruling on the
This
Field.
is the weekend everybody had circled.
NIL has changed college
Definitely
football.
worthy of winning that
The
award.
best player in the country.
Welcome to the show. Welcome to the home of the world's biggest rodeo, where the stars light up the night underneath that Texas sky. Welcome to the show. Are you ready for a ride? Yeah, you better buckle up and hold on tight. Where the Bayou City streets meet the country roads. Welcome to the show.
Welcome back to Ruling on the Field, everybody. Just gonna stop in. Let's do a quick little episode. Brady, how's your week going?
Pretty good until this whole Sherrone Moore Michigan cheating thing got brought up again on Twitter.
Oh, whatever. Let's get into talking about it. What do you think?
Yeah, so they announced that it's a self-imposed suspension from Michigan. Going to be out for the week 3 and 4. It's Central Michigan and Nebraska. The Central game, whatever, not a big deal. The Nebraska one, I think, is a big deal. Nebraska's going to be really good this year, I think. They're at least an 8 or 9 win team. And at that point, you'd assume Michigan has their starting quarterback set in stone. And you can't drop that game to Nebraska.
You can't, especially the way that they expect the season to go. I think if they get through week 2 against Oklahoma and week 4, it's going to be pretty smooth sailing up until they play Ohio State, just the way their schedule lines up. So, um, great opportunity for them, but that might be a little bit of a blow for them.
Who do you
Um,
think gets the head coaching nod while Sharon's out? There's 3 names that have been floating around for for the interim spot.
I want to say Wink.
He's one of them, yeah. Twitter's kind of split right now between Wink Martindale, Chip Lindsey, the new OC, and Biff Poggi because they brought him back this past season.
Oh, yeah, my second one would probably be Biff Poggi.
It sounds like he's probably gonna get the interim job,
Yeah, I
from what I've
agree.
heard.
So, um, that's no big deal. We all know that when situations like this happen, it's really a player-led team, as we've seen um, in years past. But I mean, guys, can we throw this out of the water? I mean, no bias here. Like the cheating scandal like never happened. Like they never cheated. They said you cheated. They took your head coach, and then the same team runs the ball 32 times in a row and kicks your ass and then wins the national championship the same year. So I don't
Yeah,
want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. It's stupid.
I'm just ready to move on. I mean, it's insane that I can't go a few days without opening Twitter and seeing Ohio State fans talk about it. And I
Here
think
comes the hammer. The hammer is not coming.
most of the country, I think, feels like who cares at this point? Michigan was the best team in 2023. I think the only fan bases that actually truly think that some major punitive damage is coming towards Michigan is Ohio State and Michigan State. And for some odd reason, there's a big section of Clemson fans on Twitter that are convinced that Michigan is getting the death penalty. And I think it's because they're trying to cover their own track because Clemson had somewhat of a similar operation going on down there.
Back in about 2018,
Yeah,
2017,
it's
right?
insane. I don't know who. I think everybody's sick of talking about this. We're about to be 2 seasons removed from it. I Nobody on that team essentially on the national championship team that was a major
The
contributor is going to
coaches,
be
the
dead.
players, they're almost all gone. The only one was Sherrone Moore, and I think that they just wanted to give some kind of punishment away. So I think Michigan made that move on their own, chose the games that they want him to be out for. So that's that. It's really stupid, but it's what we've come to, and hopefully this thing's all done because it's a waste of time, and we all know that with or without coaches, with or without sign stealing, Michigan was the best team that year. They would have won.
Yep. Want to get into our draft for 26?
Let's get into our draft. Who's the first one we're taking?
Yeah, so we're each going to draft a team, hypothetical team, We're only doing offense this week. We'll do defense another time. So we're each going to take a quarterback or a running back. We each get two wide receivers, a tight end, and then an offensive line unit as a core. I'm starting with the first pick. We're going to start with quarterback.
Yep.
I've got a bunch of guys written down. I think this is a really good quarterback year. I think I have an idea of who you're going to take, and that's kind of why I'm going to take him. I'm going to take Arch Manning. I know it's like such a basic pick. I had other guys on my list. I just think Arch Manning has the most around him this year. Obviously, the athleticism's there. He's great bodied, really moves well in the pocket. And he's a Manning. I mean, I think that's got to speak for something. There's something in those genes. I think Arch is going to be fantastic this year.
And with my quarterback, I'm going to take. No, I'm not. I'm kidding. I'm not taking Drew Aller.
There's no way.
I'm going to take Lenora Sellers. I really
Uh,
like Lenora Sellers. I liked watching him last year. I think he's a versatile quarterback, good ability to extend plays, and I think, I mean, aside from the fact that South Carolina is kind of the team they are, they do have some decent weapons on that roster, especially in terms of receivers. But I think in a bigger school, better offense, better team, he'd be a great quarterback. I mean, you never know. He could be in the Heisman conversation.
yeah, I'll be honest. He was not on my list. I kind of forgot about him because South Carolina kind of stunk last year. Um, yeah, I thought you were going to take Drew Aller. All other guys I had written down for what it's worth. DJ Lagway, Sam Levitt, and Cade Klubnik were other guys on my list.
Sam Levitt would have probably been after Lenoris. Aller's probably my fourth quarterback.
Gotcha. Interesting. All right, you have the first pick for running back.
First pick at running back, I'm taking Jeremiah Love. I believe he's back, right?
Yeah, he's coming back for Notre Dame.
Yeah, Jeremiah Love. Look, elite athleticism, fast power running back, big physicality. I mean, there's no reason he's not the best running back in college football. And then I know who you're going to take with your running back pick.
Yeah, I've been high on this guy forever. I think I have articles written about him in 2022 for pro sports fans about why Nick Singleton is one of the best running backs in the country at Penn State. Coming back, obviously he's going to split carries with Katron Allen again. That hasn't stopped his production in the past. I think Nick Singleton is definitely the best running back in the Big Ten. And outside of Jeremiah Love, I think you'd be hard pressed to find a guy that's better overall this year at the running back position.
All right, I'll let you take wide receiver.
Yeah, I think we both have the same. We're taking two receivers here. We'll go one pick, one pick. I think we both have the same number one and two guys. I'm going to take Jeremiah Smith just because I know you like him better than Ryan Williams, and I think he is a little bit better. Um, I do think that their quarterback situation is going to depend a lot on how he looks this year. Raw talent wise, he would have been probably a top five pick in this previous draft. He was eligible. I'm taking Jeremiah Smith as my wide receiver one.
I'm taking Ryan Williams. It's obvious those are going to be the, um, first two guys taken. When that draft comes in terms of receivers, probably 2 years from now. Look, these guys are the best wide receivers in college football. I love Jeremiah Smith, but Ryan Williams has great potential. And back to Jeremiah Smith. Do you remember last year when I was all over him and you're like, oh, it's too early? I said this guy's going to be the best wide receiver probably in the history of college football.
Yeah, no, I was late to that train. You were early. Granted, those conversations happened in August,
Yeah, I had
but you were on
watched
it.
a
You
lot
called
of
it.
him in high school, and I was like, "Wow, this is something different than I've ever seen."
Yeah, you called your shot there. Um, do you want the second wide
You lead
receiver here?
off. You took it.
All right. I hate doing this just because it's two Ohio State guys. I'm gonna take Carnell Tate because I think he'd be a wide receiver one on pretty much any other Big
Any
Ten
other
team in the
team?
country. Yeah. And I do think he's going to have a fantastic year just because of how often Jeremiah Smith is going to get doubled and get shadowed by like a safety coming over the top. He was awesome last year. He was one of the highest ranked recruits in the country coming out. Carnell Tate's just a monster, and he's the guy in my head. He's a Chris Olave, Emeka Ibuka type guy who could shred Michigan in that game. Hasn't happened in the last few years, obviously, but he's falls into that same category of guy in my mind.
My second wide receiver, I'm going to take Evan Stewart from Oregon. I think
Yep.
Evan Stewart. I mean, was he the guy that got tossed from the Oregon Ohio State game or something?
I think he might have been.
He was the guy like pointed a finger or spat at somebody. I don't know.
He's gonna be good this year.
But look, very talented receiver. They returned like a good team. They lost some important dudes on that team. New quarterback, but Dante Moore is proven, right? He started at UCLA. He has a good guy throwing the ball to him. He's going to be their best weapon on the outside in a very explosive Oregon offense. That's why I like him.
Yeah, I love Dante Moore. Detroit kid. I think he's should have gotten more put around him to help him at UCLA. I think he's gonna be great at Oregon this year. All right, tight end. You have the first pick.
Yeah, what's the guy from Vanderbilt's name?
Eli Stowers.
Eli Stowers, right? I think tight ends are going to take a step back this year.
Yeah,
We saw some great tight ends in college football last year. Some that weren't talked about too much. Obviously, we had Tyler Warren and Colston Loveland.
and Harold
Uh,
Fannin. Got to throw
what?
him. And Harold Fannin,
And
the back.
Harold, yeah.
Throw him
I
in there.
mean, granted, he wasn't on a Power Five team, but just what he was doing was unbelievable.
Hmm.
Um, it's not really close. Eli is the best tight end. There's nothing to compare him to last year, though.
Yeah, he had a good season last year. Obviously, Diego Pavia is coming back. He's gonna have another really good season with him. He was my number one tight end. I had a feeling you'd probably take him. My number two tight end, I don't think many people in the country outside of the Big Ten and especially outside of Michigan are aware of this guy. Jack Veiling.
Yep.
He
At
played
Michigan
MSU
State.
last year. Yep. He transferred from Oregon State, came over with Aiden Childs, had an all right year last year. Um, Nothing fantastic. Didn't have a bad season by far. I think Michigan State revamped their offensive line a ton this year. And I think it's going to give Childs more time to get the ball to Veiling. I think he's going to be really good this year. I don't think he'll be a top two or three draft pick.
He doesn't have the team around him to produce the stats.
Yeah, but I do think he's a really good run blocker, really good at finding space, getting past linebackers, and a really good guy in zone coverage. Can find a spot in the zone and just sit.
Last one, I believe it's offensive lineman, right?
Yeah, and I've got
So we're
this
taking
one.
we're taking this by units. So
Yeah,
um, Brady, I'm gonna let you go on this one.
yeah, we're taking this by units. It would be too tedious to pick out who's the best left tackle in the country, who's the best left guard in the country. Go by one by one. Um, I'm gonna take Alabama. I will give shine to certain players here though. Caden Proctor's probably the best left tackle in the country. Probably gonna be a top five draft pick this year. He was Milrose left tackle for the last 2 years. Took some lumps as a freshman. Definitely got beat up there. Coming in as a junior, he's going to be really good. And I love Alabama. It's the same reason I love the other team that I think you might take. Alabama only has one redshirt sophomore on their offensive line. Everybody else is a senior or junior. They're really old, really big, really experienced, and they retooled some guys. They got a few guys in the transfer portal, and it's kind of what you expect when you see when you picture an Alabama offensive line: big, hungry monsters down there.
As for me, I'm gonna be taking Notre Dame. I think that this is I don't know who you have me taking. Who do you think?
I had Oregon because, like Alabama, they had three guys transfer and they're all seniors or juniors.
Look, Oregon's good. I'm particularly high on Notre Dame. They returned a lot of guys last year. Um, they were a Joe Moore Award semifinalists, right? They have some big players returning, right? Emil Wagner's returning at right tackle. They return a lot of guys that had, first playing time last year. And so those are guys that have experience and are going to be playing with one of the best running backs in college football. That only makes them look better. Look, I don't know if they're going to be as good as Alabama, but I think they're going to be a strong point for this Notre Dame team this year.
Yeah, I like that pick. I thought Oregon was the other team I had written down in case Alabama got taken before them. But Notre Dame's going to be really good. And real quick, did you see the extension or the home and home that they're going to play with Clemson?
Who?
Notre Dame. It
No,
just
I
got
did
announced
not.
the other
When's
day.
this?
Yeah, it's I don't remember the exact dates, but it's a big series. It's like a 10-year commitment or something for Notre Dame and Clemson to play. It's pretty cool.
That's good. I mean, how often's that? How often are the games?
I think it's every other year, like
Okay.
home and home for the next 10 years. If I read, I could be totally wrong on that. I just saw the announcement.
It's good to happen. We need to bring back Michigan, Notre
Yeah,
Dame. It's
they're ducking
best.
the Big Ten, but
Kind of sucks.
Yeah.
Here's a random one. We'll just throw in another topic of the week.
All right.
Who's your favorite Michigan player on this team this year?
Off the top of my head, I think Samaj Morgan's fantastic. I loved him as a freshman, just as a punt returner. He's electric anytime he gets on the microphone. He's got some probably the best quotes in the Big Ten. Um, I loved Jordan Marshall in that bowl game. He was a dog. I'm trying to think.
I
Jordan
have one,
Marshall is probably up there. Um,
I have a specific one. He
trying to think
has
who you
he
would.
he doesn't really get stats.
Is it? Oh, is it Dominic Zavada?
It's Max Bredesen. That's my
That's a
favorite
good one.
Michigan player this year. I mean, you go back and you look at all the players that we've had over the last, 4 or 5 years since Michigan's kind of been going on this run. And
Mhm.
I think the true Michigan guy that he is, I mean, I love it. I
Yeah.
love it for him.
No, he's a monster.
In the trenches, he's always been a dog.
Yeah. I'm looking at the roster right now, trying to figure out who else would be like in contention. Because right now, I do think it might be Jordan Marshall.
I like Peyton O'Leary.
Peyton O'Leary, he was fun. Oh, Rod Moore for sure. I forgot he's coming back. He's gone
Yeah,
all
he
last
is
year.
great leadership presence, but I mean, there's questions about whether or not he'll play this year.
Yeah,
Even
Rod
then,
Moore.
he's still a big presence. I love him.
Yeah, if he's healthy, Rod Moore for sure is the answer. He's the reason
Yeah.
we beat Ohio State. So Rod Moore, hands down.
All right. Well, that sums it up for this week. That's all we got for you. We'll come
Yeah,
back with some more random things to talk about because the draft's over, spring ball's over, and we are basically in a dead period of college football. So
yeah.
we might
May
have
is
some transfer portal stuff happen, but man,
May is the worst month for college football fans. We have 4 months to the game start, and the portal's closed. It's terrible.
what's one game that you want to go to this year, actually?
Michigan at USC.
It's not a Michigan game.
That's not a Michigan game. Oh boy. Um, Off the top of my head, just being in Southern California, USC, UCLA. Just the rivalry's fun. I've never been.
Yeah.
I have friends at both schools. I've connections to both schools. That's probably on my list.
Mine's a weird one, and I almost want to book a day trip for it and just go by myself. I want to go to West Virginia Pitt.
That'd be fun.
Um, West Virginia is a bucket list game for me, so I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm thinking about that one.
That's
So
what we'll do next week. We'll talk about bucket list stadiums.
sounds
Book
good.
it now. Be sure to vote on the Instagram poll what team you thought was better from our little draft tonight, and we'll be sure to draft defensive squads next time or something.
Sounds good. Take care. Go Blue.
Go blue.